Oh man, so welcome back in. Welcome back on. Is it in or on? It's actually probably neither because you're not on the video and you're not in the video. So welcome. How about just this? Welcome. Tell you what, one of the interesting things about our lives here is that we literally, and when I say literally, I mean literally, every day there's always something. There's never a shortage of work. There's can be a Hollywood Yellowstone idea about ranches and ranching that, maybe it's a lot of sitting on the porch, chewing the fat, eating a steak, and watching the sun go down. The truth of the matter is, ranching is none of those things except for the steak. Otherwise, ranching is none of those things. It's just this constant list, and you just live this life where you go from one day to the next, and you go, if I can just make it into next week will be full of new work. And so that's how you have to live, and you just go and you go and you go. To complicate those matters a little more, at our place, my folks are here. I've got my younger brother and his wife, and then myself and our family. And size-wise, the ranch here is a couple thousand acres, but it's not big enough to support, 3 families financially, which a lot of people in the ag world deal with that. This has become pretty normal. It's been this way for a long time. So what that leaves you with is me, as you guys know, with my trucks. That's kind of how the trucking became, because the trucks are what support, myself and my family. Stoney, who you'll meet here in a little bit, he just finished law school and is preparing for his bar exam. So that's what he'll do for a living. Then my folks have their cattle here, and they run the cattle side of the deal, and that's how they make their living. So we live here. We have our own jobs and things that we do, my brother and I. But because we live here, any chance you have a free moment, you have a free evening, you have a free morning, you have a Saturday, you have like a Memorial Day off, whatever the case, Labor Day, there you go. Any of those days, you have to kind of fill them with ranch duties. Projects. So real quick, let me catch you up on what we've been doing. I've been down at Cerro Gordo in California for the last week with Heavy D and Brent Underwood. We've been trying to get concrete up to the top of the mountain. If you guys haven't followed that story, you need to go check out Heavy D Sparks' YouTube channel and get caught up with what we're doing there. You need to check out Brent Underwood and see what he's got going on up at Cerro Gordo. Cerro Gordo, which means, I believe that means Fat Mountain. Is that right? So you need to check that out. I came home for a little bit. As I was mentioning previously, there's always things to be doing on the ranch, right? So as I got home, I'm thinking maybe this will be the one time there's an exception. I've been working awfully hard down in the heat and up on the mountain at Cerro Gordo. Maybe this will be the one chance that I have that I'll be able to come home, be able to just rest and recharge for the day and a half that we have. Well, that's not the case. So I buzzed up here and was talking with Rooster, who's my dad. You'll meet in a little bit. I was talking to Rooster, and he always has plans. He always has things. Anytime that we're around and available, he always mentions, oh, hey, we got to do this, we got to do that. So I found out today what it is that we're doing. Ready for it? Here's what we got. It's going to be a busy day, and it's already half over. We got about 4 hours to get all this done, because the whole reason I came home to start with was the band is playing a show tonight. So before the band can play music, we've got to brand some calves. We have a little bunch of calves that were born later in the year. We got to get them branded. And then there's some other surprise Rooster won't tell us about. He said, I just need you boys. I want you to put on your athletic shoes. I need you boys. And we'll do something fun. So we don't know what he's talking about yet, but we're going to find out. You guys, this is my little brother, Stone.
How y'all doing?
This is Weston. He moved back to the ranch, was it in
December,
wasn't it? Oh yeah, because we took the...
Oh yeah.
Oh, because I was tossing kolaches through the I got to get a clip of that. We did a kolache transfer going down the highway.
Totally forgot about that.
I got to put that in here because it's somewhere. We'll find it. Anyway, Stone moved back up from Texas, just finished law school up.
That's right.
Which is intense, and now is studying up to finish the bar exam. You can call him one of many names that you'll probably hear me calling him. How did it become?
Isn't that the Russian hacker, or was that Gustafer?
Oh, that's right. That was Gustafer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, this is how it came. Was when we dropped cattle off for Heavy D, the little caretaker guy's name was Gus.
Oh, because we took him to we didn't drop him into the pasture where they were going to live. We
Right,
took
yeah.
him to a facility
Little
to hold
holding-
him.
Yeah, little.
Oh, it was
holding
like a
pasture.
horse facility. They had a guy kind of watching over the property.
Yeah, and his name was Gus, and Heavy D could not remember that guy's name, and so I called him Gustafer so we'd remember, and everyone loved it. Everyone was laughing, just thought it was just the funniest.
Because we're down there in the dark,
Yeah,
putting those cattle
just-
in.
Everyone just loved it. Thought I was the man for coming up with that name. So, and then Heavy D turns to me to say something to me, and he's like, "Man, I cannot remember your
This
name."
is the day later now
Yeah.
at the island,
Yeah, at
right?
the
Oh
island.
yeah, we're on the island. So we're out on the island,
He's like,
Fremont Island.
yeah. He's like, dang it. He's like, Weston, I can never remember your name. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna call you Gustafer. So I went from just being the man, just oh man, coming up with the funniest names, to being like, whoa, wait,
I'm Gustafer.
I'm Gustafer.
You know, last time, I think it was when we were headed down to St. George to go get those excavators. He's like, "Hey, how's your brother doing?" He goes, "It's Christopher, right?" I was like, "No, it's Uffer, but it's not a Christopher. It's a." Oh yeah, Gustafer. How's Gustafer doing?
So funny, man.
Um,
Do you want to put vaccines and stuff together?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just gonna be busy doing this.
Doing what?
I'm just gonna be busy doing this.
Did you guys hear it? I didn't hear it. Sounded like he's gonna be busy doing. Mitz, could you make sure that he does something productive?
Yeah.
It feels so good in the shade, man. I hardly want to leave it.
This is old Roost. He is the king of the ranch, right?
The deposed king of the ranch.
He feels like he's king of the ranch, but feeling deposed. The deposed king of the ranch. As Weston and I get older, we always have a few more and more ideas that we're shooting out. And Rooster feels a little bit less and less the king and more the peasant.
Absolutely, the labor.
So Rooster's got a surprise for us. He mentioned that we needed to brand calves today. I think there's not a whole lot
No,
left,
just
is
the
it?
tail enders. Yeah.
So we have most of our calves are born, earlier in the year, and there's always a few stragglers that come later. They're born a little later. So we got to brand those. There's probably a dozen of them.
Yeah,
Ish.
yeah.
Okay. So we got to brand those so they can get out to pasture with the rest of the cow herd. And there's some surprise. Rooster, he wouldn't tell me all week at Cerro Gordo. He's like, "We got a surprise. Something happened on the ranch this week, and I have no idea what it is because I've been on the road or at Cerro Gordo and I've been out of touch." So what happened on the ranch this week?
Well, we raise mute swans. We've had them for 30, 40 years, and we're grandfathered in. The Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, they're illegal to raise anymore, and the only reason we were able to keep ours is because we had them so long, we're grandfathered in. But they hatched a few babies this week, so we...
They did?
Yeah.
The old swans?
Yeah. So we
So
got
where did they have them?
down in the beaver ponds. So
they
we
done?
have to round up these baby swans, and we have to clip the last joint on one wing,
Okay.
so they won't be able to fly.
Kind of like docking tails on a puppy, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
When they're young. Okay.
Yeah, there's no blood, can't even feel it if they're babies,
Okay.
and that way they won't be able to fly, and then I can legally continue to have swans.
That's the stipulation.
Yeah, they have to be docked. If they can
Okay.
fly, then they could migrate and possibly root out some native species if they got loose on their own.
Okay. I can't believe they finally had. You've been waiting a long time to get them in there. That's great. That's great. Cool. Well, so that's what we're gonna do. I guess we're gonna brand, and then we're gonna go learn a little bit about docking wings.
We're gonna try and catch some baby swans.
They're a little. I suppose they're a little
We could get
protective.
very, very wet, and the mom and dad will be very aggressive.
Great. All right. Well, you guys are in for a treat. There you met old Rooster. We do a lot of stuff. Rooster's great. He's the best guy that you'll ever have the acquaintance of getting to know, and you'll get to know him here through the channel. But just complete heart of gold. Go anywhere. My parents both are that way. They'll just do anything for anyone, anywhere, at any time, and can't think of better people to be raised by. Really can't. So. So I get to the ranch, I roll up, and I didn't even know, this is just a little bonus treasure. I wheel up, and guess what I find? I find our horseshoer here. Now I gotta tell you guys, horseshoers they're a different breed. You guys, this is Kurt Fogel. Kurt and Brad Fogel are two of the first guys that I ever met when we started ranching here, wouldn't it be?
Right, I think so.
Back, I think I got here in I think it was 07. And Kurt and Brad were they're as cowboy and real as you are ever gonna find. I mean, speaks for himself, right? So Kurt is much more of a rough, rugged, tough, get anything done cowboy than his brother Brad. Hopefully Brad watches this at some point, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, horseshoeing it's a whole different ball of wax. I got real excited one time when I was a younger man about horseshoeing. And so I was all geared up and I was going to learn everything. And I think I lasted for maybe the first, I was telling Kurt, maybe the first hour, maybe. And my back was shot. My legs were burning. You guys don't understand. And I'm going to show you as he gets going here. You can see. But what's the worst part you think about horseshoeing? What's the most taxing physical part of it?
Getting cut by a horseshoe nail.
Yeah. You put a few through your...
I've had a few through my fingers.
Because you pound them through, and there's what has he got, a
sharp,
good inch of it sticking out?
Well, not quite an inch, but half inch or under,
and you got it before
they're needle sharp, and if they pull away from you
before you get it
before
crimped
you
down,
get it twisted off, you're liable to cut a finger or.
Kurt, what are the basic steps?
Well, we're just pulling and resetting here, so. I'm cutting the nails. I'm going to file them off, and then I'll take them in underneath and start trimming on them. We get the shoe pulled and start trimming.
So you get the old shoe off. You got to just clean it, square it up.
Yeah.
Get it all so it's ready for a fresh.
Get him trimmed back down to where close to where it should be.
Now, growing up, Kurt, I do have to admit, I didn't know. The only thing we ever used those for over in Fairfield was for clipping boar tusks. But now I see, that's what those are actually for, clipping horseshoe nails.
Well, yeah. Actually, these for just pulling.
Rooster he'd get those boars in from the Hutterites.
Yeah.
You know, they're coal boars, and they'd come in with tusks sometimes. And you'd always have to cut the tusks out so they didn't tear each other up.
Yeah.
You know, once you pinned them together. What's the main reason for needing to have shoes on your horses?
Well, if you're in the rock a lot, in the gravel, or trail riding up in the mountains.
Because hooves aren't, I mean, you see this, they're not actually all that. You think, oh, it's a hoof, it's tough, it's hard, but...
Yeah, that's kind of basically their fingernails.
They're like a fingernail.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Depends on the time of the year.
So basically, this is like getting a little manicure, pedicure situation.
Yeah.
So by putting horseshoes on, it protects them from sharp.
Getting sore foot. We just gotta level up our shoes.
That's how the hardcore guys do it. They get a mouthful of nails. Look at that, you guys. Woo!
Yeah.
Don't mess with little Kurt. Spit a nail at you. Now, I'd assume with horseshoeing, it's like so many other things where preparation is the key to a good seat.
It is, yeah.
Like a paint job or, I mean, anything. It holds about as good as you prepare it to hold.
Yeah.
That's that spike you're talking about you ripped your hands on a few times?
Yeah, you get bent over and sometimes some horses might pull back and then not.
Show you guys old Bubbles here. Bubbles is our good old Our good old boy. We've had Bubbles since I was in grade school. So I'm gonna say, gosh, I don't even know. I'm 35 now, so. Bubbles here has an interesting past. Bought Bubbles at an exotic animal sale. Came out of a circus horse. Bubbles is an Appaloosa. Used to have all spots like a Dalmatian. Used to be covered with black spots back in the day, but as he's got older, the spots have kind of faded. It's the ranch brand right there. Let's take a look at Bubbles here. Come on, bud. See that? When you lift their leg up, they kind of like to lean on you a little bit, like a kickstand. All trimmed out. You all good to go, buddy? Ready to chase some cows? Okay, we're gonna get real western. After showing you all that horseshoeing, we realized that the cattle that we need to brand, the calves, are right next to the gate. So instead of saddling up the ponies, we're going caveman style, right, Mitz?
Oh yeah.
Oh, guys, this is Mitzi, my sister-in-law.
Hi.
Mitzi grew up down in Houston on the Wayside Drive. Is there really a Wayside Drive?
No.
You know the old, it's an old Waylon song, right?
I think so, yeah.
So Mitzi's from Houston, met Weston down in Texas, and she has so fully and wonderfully embraced the ranch. Like anything. You're gonna see a little later. She's gotten really good at doing some stuff. And I can't wait to show you. She's way too humble about it. Hey, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, here da 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 dum, there da 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 dum, 1 2 da da dum. Hey, da 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 dum, da da dum, da da dum, da da dum. It's pretty rare. Couples that ranch together can cause some serious strains. Let's see how it went. Hey, Stoney.
Yeah.
Mitz. So, Weston gave his wife instructions to go ahead of us and open the gates and get set up, so that we could come from the corrals and out in the field through the barnyard here. We don't call it a barnyard actually, but we call it the corrals. And up from there into the alleyway, because we need to sort the mamas from their babies.
Not only did she successfully complete the assignment, I'd give her like a 9.5 out of 10 on form and just her overall good looks, attractiveness. I just think she just nailed it. 10 out of 10 on
You guys, take a lesson right there. That is how you ranch as a couple. Look at that. Beauty. We got going. We got the cows in, and mind you, I know there's somebody out there looking like, okay, this is like baby operations, which it is today. Because these, you got to remember, these are just the cows that calved late. There's just a little handful of them. The other, whatever it is, 180 mama cows and 100 and whatever 80 babies are all out to grass. They're all out to grass eating. We need these little buggers to get their mark. We got to give them a vaccine to keep them healthy and protected from some of the dangers of the pastures, and a couple other little things, and we'll kick them out. But anyway, that's where we're at. Mama cow's there, baby's here, and that'll be that. Fitz, what are you by trade?
Well, I used to be a nurse.
So this is just old hand, this kind of stuff, the blood and the guts.
Oh, yeah.
Weston, is this why you have trouble getting in and out?
Mitzi got really good at doing this and very comfortable with it this spring when we were branding. Yes, that is what you think it is. And Weston, ever since, has slept just a little less soundly. We got the branding done. I got to do a couple things at the house, and then we're headed out to check out the swans. If you guys want to know, hey Regals, can you say hi? Woo is the glue that holds the entire ranch together. She's very soft-spoken, very quiet. She never likes to admit it, but she keeps everything going. And she is a master when it comes to landscaping. So she keeps the ranch beautiful. We try to provide the grunt work. She tells us what to do, we do it, and everything turns out. Anyway, I want to show you something. If you guys have ever wondered where I get my dashing good looks, this is it. Comes all from my mama. We're down here on the creek. We have this creek that winds down from the mountains, comes through, and a neat thing about it is that the beavers, with their beaver teeth, have come down and beavered some trees and have made really nice little ponds, which creates good habitat. And the swans picked a nice little spot. It's a pond just big enough that we're not able to get out there and do our netting quite as well. So we got Brother Stone. I'm not sure, where did you pick those up?
All these old things.
I thought Weston was going to be wearing a Speedo with some swimming goggles, but instead this year he's opted to go with the full body.
That's the bag. If this doesn't work, we'll bust out the Speedo.
If this doesn't work, we might have to try to get the boat de-winterized.
So usually the swans nest right up by the house in a pond with easy access. They chose a different beaver pond this year, so it'll be a little bit more.
I haven't actually been on this one. How deep do you think this one is?
10 feet.
So if you go off the edge,
Yeah, don't drown.
you go right to the bottom, Jim.
Oh boy. Have you told him about Rooster's exotics and stuff a little bit?
No, so you guys, this one of the wonderful things that came out during COVID, one of the best things of COVID was the creation of the show Tiger King. And we know Joe Exotic, and everybody was just like, who is this guy? Like, is there really people like this in the country? It cannot be.
They are very much real, people like that. You're looking at one of them right here. Not quite as crazy as Joe Exotic, a little more stand-up-ish maybe.
Rooster is like the bridge between Joe Exotic and the rest of the normal world. There stands Rooster, a pillar of semi-normalcy.
But some of Rooster's friends in the exotic business are very similar to Joe
Very
Exotic.
similar.
That's why we loved the show so much, because it was nostalgic.
It was like I was in tears. I was like, oh, I remember guys like that coming by all the time. Because you guys, through the years, we had, I mean, what all have you had?
We've had mountain lions, ostrich, emu, elk, antelope, deer, bobcats,
Like,
bighorn sheep. Yeah.
like you name it. I mean, growing up, for us, most kids would come home from school or come home from football practice and they'd have to feed cows. We'd have to go out and feed the elk and feed the camels and grain the swans. And so exotic animals have always been a part of our life. And so it was so nice to finally see the exotic people get their moment in the sun with the advent of the Tiger King coming out for us. But it's no joke. That is the exotic world, and Rooster's always skirted around the edge of it, and so
Always had
But
one
we're
foot
down
in
to
it.
just
Yeah.
swans and
Peacock.
camels and peacocks.
yeah, we're kind of getting down to the bottom. So as we go out here, there are some actual. I know it sounds funny. These swans are what are these ones?
Mutes.
Mute swans, and those are the ones that like they have the orange beak, and so when you see them out in the water, you're like, what a majestic creature. Don't be fooled, because those swans can give you the death stroke. They will cut you with their wing. Okay? So one of the main things is that we have to get the parents separated from the children, so to speak. And we're gonna do that. We've got some nets and we've got our horse trailer out here. We're gonna try to get them gathered so that we can get the babies and give that little clip. Again, that's to keep them from flying away.
And then move them back to the normal pond.
And then get them back up where they've been moving further and further east. So we want to get them back up towards the place. Here's the thing about these swans. You watch, you'll see them, they look pretty. These swans can take down a coyote. They can take down a fox, knock a skunk out, knock a raccoon. Any of these predators that come in that want to eat the swan eggs or the babies. Dude, this male comes in, you'll see some of his moves. Put him out.
And I'm probably the equivalent of a skunk as far as my, how intimidating I am. So
Right.
I'm in some trouble here. I'm going to have to really be doing my best.
Don't fall in there, Roost. Not quite as sure-footed as we were in our young days. Did you hear that?
What do you say?
You go speak for yourself. It became kind of apparent pretty quick that we were all going to get wet. So Stoney was already in there with his waders. Old man Rooster jumped right in. And I was like, ah! It's one of my like personal little, when you see people just dive in without the proper clothing. So anyway, Rooster's doing it and Juice is doing it. I got to do it. So I bailed in and we got both parents now into the net. Everybody's calm, everybody's relaxed. Got the babies in hand. So the deal here, if you get right behind where their wings connect, you can pull them around. It's kind of like grabbing somebody by their elbows and holding their elbows kind of behind them. You can get them without getting hurt. If I let go, they got enough strength to break your forearm, like no question. So, apparently the male's a little heftier than this feminine companion. Oh man. So I know that doesn't seem like much. You're like, seriously, guy? It's a little hill and 2 birds. But when your diet on the road as a trucker consists mostly of Twinkies and ho-hos. Oh. There. Okay, there you have it, you guys. That was the Swan adventure. We're almost done for the day, but not quite. We got one more thing tonight yet.
That's right. That is right.
We got to go put on a show. So we're going to change. I'm dirty. You're dirty.